Welcome, welcome, welcome to Questions for Lawyers. I'm your guest host, Franklin Hada. I'm here because Mr. Adelman is on assignment and we'll be talking to him briefly via satellite hookup. Mr. Jeff Adelman, as many of you may know, was voted 12 times best attorney by the readers of the Coral Spring Forum, former chair of the Florida Bar, Client Security Fund. He did lots of good things for those people there. You know, this is normally his show, but hopefully I can live up to the big show. Jeff Adelman, welcome.
Wow, I've never had an introduction quite like that. You want to do it again, Frank?
I don't know if I could.
Good to see you, buddy.
Good to see you. Just as brief background, Jeff and I were colleagues, went to law school together, became friends, and now I'm guest hosting his show. Jeff, tell us a little bit about this best attorney 12 times. Did you break the award? Did you break the system? What's going on, Jeff?
Well, actually, I won it 12 times in a row, and they do not do the award anymore since 2017. So you might want to say I retired the award. At least that's what I like to think.
It's much better, much better. And you're also former chair of the Florida Bar Client Security Fund. What is that? Tell us a little bit about what is that? How much time did you spend there, and what did you do? Right?
Yeah, so let's talk about the Client Security Fund.
All right.
The Client Security Fund is something that I am very proud of because I was the chair of that organization. And what they do is they take some of the money from our Florida bar dues and they give it back to people who are fleeced or have their money stolen from unscrupulous attorneys who are disbarred or suspended. So I think it's one of the things that the Florida bar does that tries to give attorneys a good name. I think it's probably one of the best things that they do. And I was very proud to serve on that committee for 6 years. Really, very important work. Unfortunately.
Unfortunately, that's good work there, Jeff. And I have a big question for you. And I've been trying to hold back on this question. It's a little personal. I think a lot of our audience members may want to know this too. What's up with the show? What got you into it? Why am I guest hosting? Are we gonna go viral?
I don't know. It depends on what you do.
Well, I'm hoping John Oliver's watching. I stole his intro, so
I don't know
maybe
if it'll be quite as interesting as that.
hashtag.
What were you saying? I'm sorry.
I was gonna say hashtag John Oliver. Please don't sue. I stole his intro.
I started doing this because in college I had a broadcasting background. I actually majored at FSU in broadcast communications, and I always loved doing this. When I was at FSU, I was a reporter on TV on Sunshine Network, which is now Fox Sports News. I mean, Fox Sports, just Fox Sports. I don't think I'd be on Fox News anytime soon. And then also the sports director of the radio station, V89. So I would have some of the FSU athletes, coaches. We had Mark Richt on, we had Chris Winkie on, and we would do like a talk show format. So I really enjoyed doing that. And now the technology is available to do this on Facebook. I enjoy doing it, and I think it's a great way to showcase what us lawyers do and how there are so many different areas of the law that, if you think one lawyer can handle it all, you just don't understand. And that's the thing. I don't think that the public understands. And I think that there is an anxiety about contacting a lawyer for the first time. So I try to get rid of that. And I'm having an awesome time doing it, to tell you the truth. I mean, this has just been one of the highlights of 2019 for me so far.
That's excellent. And you've been doing a great job. Well, and except for the FSU part, we're not going to mention that too much. But other than that, it sounds like, you have it in your blood. You probably, I hope this goes well and you get your own show and I can be like Andy Richter or something for Conan O'Brien.
Well, you were my first guest, Frank. So,
I was.
This is a real treat for me to be sitting on the hot seat with you asking the questions. So,
and let's get into that.
Okay.
And now this. So tell us a little bit about what you do. I know that personal injury attorneys handle sort of different areas, auto accidents, slip and falls, different injuries. Why don't we start talking about a little bit about slip and falls? What's a slip and fall? What can you do? How is this brought about?
Well, slip and fall cases, it's not just simply, oh, I slipped on something in my own house. It's you're out in public and say you're in a supermarket and there is water on the floor and it's been on the floor for a long enough period of time where the supermarket should have cleaned it up. You fall, you severely injure yourself, you fracture your wrist, because again, a lot of times when people fall, you get fractures. Because it's, your whole body weight is coming down on an area of your body. And, this is something, it's negligence, just like a car accident. If you hit somebody, that's negligence. If you have noticed that something is on the floor or a condition exists on your property that is dangerous, the property owner has a duty to clean up or fix that area so people are not injured.
Okay. So is this something kind of like when you see on TV and cartoons where there's a banana peel on the floor at a supermarket, slip and fall on a banana? Is this more or less what you're talking about?
That's just one situation. I mean, we always think about bananas when we come up with slip and falls, and I actually, for a presentation, gave out stress ball bananas with my name on it because of that, because it's just people identify with that.
How do I get How do I get a banana stress ball there?
I'll tell you what.
How does the public get one?
Buy me breakfast this weekend, and you can have one. How about that?
Sounds
what
good.
A deal. But there's lots of different ways. I mean, again, I talk about water is probably the most common thing, but talking about trip and falls. I've had cases in parking lots where people have tripped on potholes in the parking lot, or the rebar that comes out of the parking stop trips somebody, causes an injury. Now, you might say, oh, well, they should have seen it. And that's a really good point, because in Florida, we have comparative negligence. So
what can a small business owner do? What can someone do to avoid this?
Well, one of the things they could do is, first of all, pay attention to what's going on in your business, walk around regularly, have a system for walking around to observe potential hazards to customers. In this day and age, surveillance cameras are very inexpensive for what they do. I would highly recommend that, not just for security reasons, but for reasons such as you want to know what's going on in your store, to have surveillance. And it's not perfect. I mean, I've had cases against companies like Walmart where they have surveillance. Sometimes we actually get the fall on tape. I won't say tape, on video, dating myself.
You're aging yourself there, Jeff.
But I've also had it where
Be kind, rewind.
And they don't cover the entire area of the store, believe it or not. You would think that in this day and age, but it's not always completely covered. So it can be helpful, but I would recommend for a small business as something that is not that expensive, to have that in there, and just to be diligent, to walk around, make sure there's no spills on the floor near a sink or near a soda machine, anything like that. Make sure there's no customer dropped anything on the floor. One of the things that, as a personal injury lawyer, we always look for is... What? Frank? One of the things we always...
I was just asking, what can a person do that has fallen?
What can a person do that has fallen? Well, first of all, you want to make sure you report it right away to the place. And second of all, you want to get medical care and treatment if, in fact, you are injured. You don't want to sit there and wait and wait and wait, because what you do if you wait is you're building in a defense for the insurance company or the business to say, oh, how badly hurt can Joe be, because he didn't even go to the doctor right away. So, I mean, the bottom line is that Frank went away, and I'm still here. But there he is. So the bottom
I,
line
I
is
think
that,
we flickered out there for a
yeah,
minute.
I saw that. I got sad. I was by myself.
This is what happens with the satellite. We probably had an interruption in the satellite feed, and these things happen sometimes, Jeff. But we got to
Yeah.
bear with the technology.
Well, being in the jungle right now, the Wi-Fi signal is not the best. So, but I was saying, just with slip and fall cases, and any type of injury case, if you feel like you're injured, the longer you wait, you're building in a defense for the insurance company or the corporation. Because again, they'll say, how badly hurt could you be if you didn't go to the doctor right away? If you have any doubt, you should at least get a treatment and then wait. Again, some people don't do that, and every single time they don't, they go, well, there's a 6-day gap in treatment. That's the gap in treatment. You've heard of that, Frank. And that's what they do.
Yeah, Jeff, let me ask you this. Is this something that you handle in your firm there? Is this something that you do on the personal level, on the business side level? Who do you represent, and what can you do for people watching right now who may have questions regarding a slip and fall, a trip and fall?
I only represent people. I do not represent corporations or insurance companies. Everything I do is for individuals who get injured as a result of other people's negligence. And, the bottom line is that when someone comes into my office, they know that they're going to be dealing with me. And I have to take the case. I have to decide if I can help the person. And sometimes I'll tell people, look, I just don't see the liability here. I'm sorry that you're injured, but if there's no liability, I can't help you. You have to have a couple of things when you have a injury case. Somebody has to be negligent, you have to be injured, and there has to be a causal link between what happened and your injury. If those things aren't there, you don't have a case. And unfortunately, sometimes I have to tell people that. But, I'll be honest with them from the beginning. I don't want to tell them that 2 years down the road.
Now, Jeff, you talk a lot about, recovery, injuries. Now, how do you get paid for representing? How does this work? Do you collect a fee at the end, up front? How does this exactly work, Jeff? You explain that, because I get that question a lot, because people come into me, they're like, oh, it's free, and I'm like, I don't know if it's free. Can you get a little bit into that?
Sure. The way it works on these cases, and you see a lot of advertising, no fee, no costs unless we win or unless we collect. Everybody does that. That's not unique. That's what I do. If we settle a case out of court without having to file a lawsuit, the fee is 1/3 of whatever's collected, 1/3 off the top. Then if it has to go into lawsuit, okay, that's a lot more work and a lot more of firm money that has to go into the case. The fee goes up to 40% through trial. Now, I will tell you that my rule of thumb when I am handling a case, as long as it's not going to trial or anything like that, which most cases don't, I never want a client leaving my office where I'm getting more money than they're getting. If it turns out that according to the contract, I'm supposed to get $20,000 and they're supposed to get 50 cents, I always will even that out, because I want somebody to walk away thinking that I was straight with them. And again, my business relies on people, former clients, current clients, friends, attorneys, referring cases to me. So to me, I just think it's bad business to do that. And I think that, all attorneys should do that, in my opinion.
Well, and those rates that you're saying, are those industry standards? Or those?
Yes. And what I find funny is I've seen some advertising, I'll do your case for 25%. Who's handling your case for 25%? I guarantee you that the person doing that probably doesn't go to court. So you want somebody who is going to step into the courthouse and try your case if they can't get a satisfactory settlement. You should want to pay a larger fee if you get a larger recovery. If you pay a small fee on a small recovery, I mean, again, I'm not a math person, but
it doesn't seem worthwhile sometimes.
With what I just said, where I even it out, that shouldn't even be a consideration. Be concerned about what your net is. Don't be concerned so much about what the attorney's fee is, because the attorney's fee is the same with any attorney you go to.
Okay. Now, speaking of those fees, I see a lot of times $10,000, get your money, it's quick, it's easy. What is that? What are those? What are they talking about?
Oh, well, you're talking about $10,000. You're talking about the PIP. You're talking about some of those chiropractor mass marketing billboards. And what people don't know about the $10,000 is that doesn't go in your pocket.
What do you
That
mean?
goes directly to the medical provider.
What do you mean it doesn't go into your pocket? Wouldn't I walk away with a check for 10,000 or something? How does it work?
No, that goes to pay for your medical bills. So you go to one of these clinics who's advertised on 95. They'll use up your PIP benefits, $10,000, and there's nothing left for a specialist or anything like that. You didn't get any money, but the medical provider sure got paid. So
Okay.
that is very misleading, and I'm glad you brought that up.
Now, is that same or similar to full coverage? Is that something related? How does that work? What's the relationship, if any? Can you talk to? Because I get that question a lot, and I'm like, I don't know too much about insurance. Talk to my buddy Jeff here, but can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. Full coverage is one of those things when a client says they have full coverage, I cringe. The reason why I cringe is full coverage is basically just checking boxes. I have bodily injury coverage. I have property damage coverage. I have PIP. Sometimes they have uninsured motorist coverage, but it doesn't say how much coverage they have. It's like saying, I have a piece of meat. Is it a McDonald's hamburger or is it a ribeye from Ruth's Chris? There's a big difference. Full coverage, you still have a piece of meat, but the bottom line is there's a difference in terms of what kind of quality coverage, how much coverage you have.
Okay. So you're saying Ruth Chris is more a la carte, so you got to add some extras. You want mashed potatoes, you got to order something else. Is that the uninsured motorist, more or less?
Uninsured motorist is the most essential coverage to have on your auto policy, because there's too many people on the roads in Florida that do not have liability coverage, and it's completely legal for people not to have liability coverage in this state if they hurt you. So to protect yourself and protect your family, you've got to get uninsured motorist coverage, and at the very least, match the coverage to what you have for bodily injury coverage in the event you hurt somebody else. And if you have more than one vehicle, you can actually multiply the coverage. It's called stacking.
Okay.
So you can get the most benefit for your family. God forbid you have a car accident.
I stack my pancakes, Jeff.
Huh?
So I
stack your pancakes, stack your UM.
Now I constantly get
Jeff Adelman. Oh.
We got to throw in some copyrights here, right? We need some hashtags. We haven't thrown out a hashtag. We need to do something here. But I get a common question is, will this raise my rates? Am I going to have to pay more car insurance? How does this work? Will making a claim have any impact?
That's something I get a lot too. And the answer to the question is they are not allowed to raise your rates for a not at fault accident if you've had less than 3 accidents in 3 years. So you have an accident, you get rear-ended, they are not allowed to raise your rates. Okay. You have a second accident a week later, they're not allowed to raise your rates, rear-end accident. You have a third accident the third week, we'll just say a year later, how about that? Then they might have the ability to do that.
Okay.
But how many people really fall into that category? The bottom line is, if you have an accident and you're somebody who, again, it's not your third accident in a matter of 3 years, they're just not allowed to do that. And in fact, you can change insurance the moment. You could be calling your insurance company from the scene of an accident, and then afterwards call another insurance company
and get a new quote and get new insurance
company. I want to switch to another one. And you can do that. The original company is on the hook for your accident. You can't switch it. But again, you have a little more power than you think you do.
All right. And another common question I get, Jeff, and I don't know if you get this as well, and I don't know how to answer this one too well either, is do I have to go through my own insurance company? Or even though the other person may have caused the accident, how can I just have their insurance company cover it? How does that work?
Every person driving on the roads in Florida has to have minimum PIP, personal injury protection slash no fault coverage. What that means is no matter what, whether you hit a light pole or somebody hits you from behind, your insurance pays for your medical bills up to $10,000. That's why it's called no fault. You do not have a choice to go through the other person's insurance first. And in fact, if you don't go through your coverage, there's something called a set off. And what would happen is if you were to go to trial and have not used your PIP, the
Okay.
judge could take either $2,500 or $10,000 off of your verdict.
Wow. Okay. So you got to be
So
careful with that.
it would be a very bad idea not to use your PIP.
So
If
this is
you
where an attorney with your level of experience, your 12 years, number one attorney, this is where something like this comes into play. This is something that probably, is it well known? Is this something that could slip through the cracks? Is this like an easy mistake to make? How does this work, Jeff?
you know, I do personal injury cases, I do insurance disputes. That's what I do. I wouldn't venture into family law, even though I have a Florida bar license. I just wouldn't do it. That I would defer that to you, Frank. You want to go with somebody who makes their living with personal injury claims and is a litigator. Because if you don't have somebody who actually has the fear to the insurance companies that they'll go to court, that they will cost the insurance companies more money even if they lose by going to court, you are in a lesser bargaining position when you settle, when you're going
Okay.
through settlement negotiations or at a mediation. All of those things factor in. So those are the things that anybody should be looking for who's in an auto accident or a slip
Well,
and fall for that matter. Those are the things you got to look for.
now let me ask you this. Isn't it true that most of these cases settle? Does it really, do you really need an experienced in court litigator, even though most of these cases settle? How does that correlate?
The reason that most cases settle is that attorneys who are litigators, we know what we're doing. The
Okay.
insurance companies know that we know what we're doing. The defense attorneys know we know what we're doing. Now, the bottom line is I'm not trying to say I'm the end all be all of legal opinions or anything like that. But the bottom line is if I'm evaluating a case and I think it's something that can go to trial, other litigators on both sides most of the time would agree. And that puts value on the case. If you have somebody who does not do that, how can they tell what's going on over at the courthouse? What things are going for jury verdicts? Sure, you can look up the jury reporters and everything else, but you're not getting,
So
you're
you're not in the trenches. You're not chewing the dirt. You don't know what's going on. You stay up
not
to
seeing the
date.
jury pools that are coming through, the juror pools that are coming through, the people who are on trying to get out of jury duty, what they're saying, the cynicism that's going on, or if there was something positive and people have different opinions about different jurisdictions. You really need to have somebody who is there, who is willing to take that next step, to willing to put their money into you, to believe you. If they're not willing to do that, that should tell you something about their priorities. I also want to mention something else.
What is that, Jeff?
You attorneys like me, yes, we refer often to different physicians who work on cases. But you need to factor in who is your attorney referring you to? Are they a quality physician? Are they somebody that I would go to on my own? Is this somebody that your attorney would treat with?
So it's important that you go to a good doctor, someone that's actually going to give
Absolutely.
you the
It's not
right
just about your
care.
case, it's about your health. You want to make sure you're going to somebody who's going to be straight with you.
So it's
Okay?
not just about the shekels.
It's not just about that. It's about your body. It's about long-term effects. But, you know, are you going to go somewhere where you're going to have a different doctor every week? Or are you going to have the same consistency? You're going to see the same person each time. That matters. And it matters at the end to the person evaluating your claim from the insurance company.
So would it be fair to say that while you have a better doctor, better quality doctor, that somehow improves your ability to increase your recovery, as opposed to having a doctor with not too much experience?
Absolutely, it does. And I've been told that by insurance adjusters. I had one case where my client had seen a chiropractor 50 times, which is a lot.
Sounds like a lot.
And then he had seen an orthopedic doctor who I know 2 or 3 times. I was talking to the adjuster. I'm like, well, you know, she said this. She goes, I don't really care what this 50-time chiropractor says. What does your orthopedic doctor say?
Right.
Point blank, she said that to me. So from that point on, and I've heard it before, you realize that the quality of the people you're referring to really does matter. And the bottom line is, if I'm referring somebody, I want to make sure that I'm not doing anything wrong, that I can sleep at night, that I know that my clients are getting the best care from the person I refer
So
them to. I don't want to hear back that the person was terrible. I don't want that.
So it's not only about helping the case and helping prove your damages, it's also about getting good health care in the long term so you can recover better.
I tell my clients, even if you don't have a case, if you need a specialist, give me a call. We know who the quality physicians are. We know who are the ones that you have to avoid. I don't ever mind doing that. In fact, you know, I like hearing from clients after the fact. I consider that very, very flattering, and I do try to keep in touch with my former clients as much as possible.
All right, Jeff, I've truly had an excellent time here chatting with you. Is there anything else that you feel the audience should know, anything that should be answered?
Well,
any parting thoughts for our audience here today?
The parting thought I would say is, if you're listening to this and you don't have uninsured motorist coverage, call your insurance agent now and get it. I've had situations where clients have not had it on one accident. 6 months later, they get in another one and it was far worse. Thankfully, they listened to me and they were able to get some compensation where they wouldn't have been able to otherwise. The case I'm thinking about in particular, the person had a fractured hip and needed surgery, and the person who hit her had no insurance. And when I say no insurance, I mean no liability insurance. Driving legally.
Wow.
But no insurance.
Well,
so protect yourself in Florida. Got to have uninsured motorist coverage. I'm available to speak anytime. People can call me at 954-341-2777. Of course, you can always email me as well at jeff@adelmanlawyers.com, or go to the adelmanlawyers.com webpage, or go to this one on Facebook Live.
Can we call you on a Saturday? What if I get into a car accident on Saturday or Sunday?
A Saturday or Sunday, if you call my number, it rings to my cell phone.
Thank you so much, Jeff. Thank you for allowing me to guest host your show. It's been a privilege. It's been an honor. It's been great to speak to you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for watching Questions for Lawyers. I am your guest host, Franklin Hada, family law attorney in Miami, Florida. If you have any family law questions, don't hesitate to give us a call at 305-372-0290, or email me at Franklin, FRANKLIN, at jaralaw, JARALAW.com. Thank you and good night.
Take care, Frank. Knishes are on me next time. Take care.